haven't done a ton of these recently. It's been a limited schedule, to be honest, and that's why I haven't done a bunch of them. But we we're going to do it today, even though it's once again a limited schedule. And as everyone knows, comments, everything like that on these computer pick show, they're 100% random. The picks that I pick out to be on the show, it's usually an A or B rated pick, and normally I say that those are the games that they say that are worth betting. But I've had a little bit of pushback, and that pushback has come from Charles Ormsby, who is the founder and creator and head of knowledge at Spread Knowledge. So what I said is, then you explain it to him. So Charles is here with us. Welcome, Charles, to our show. So I think that the number one thing here for our audience, and the number one thing that everyone has been emailing me and talking about, is that we were red hot in college basketball. We could not lose with Spread Knowledge. We couldn't lose. I mean, it was impossible to lose. We were up. I mean, our record, we were 50, 60 games over 500. It was like the 2005 White Sox. It was amazing. But, since the COVID restart, it obviously, the record has tailed off. So, is this because of a lack of data, or what's going on here? We just want to win.
Yeah, so I think, first of all, thanks again for having me. It's great to be here. I think obviously COVID changed a lot for sports, right? And certainly for data. There's a lot less data. The data is kind of less volume, and I would say less reliable as well, because it's just different, especially in sports like the NBA, where you have, even in the NFL too, where you have the visiting team kind of not having that home court or home field disadvantage, right? So it's very different. Our data and our machine algorithms really rely heavily on home kind of positions and away positions, and how that factors into outcomes. So it's been a challenging time, to say the least. I'm sure that other people's challenges have been a lot more complicated than ours, but we're in the business of sports predictions, and we always want to do better. So it's kind of why we're kind of giving this a reboot here, to kind of try to restart this kind of vlog and see where we can go with it. So do you want me to kind of just launch into the picks?
Absolutely. What I'm trying to do is just put our names up, but I've just been working on the graphics in the meantime. But anyways, yeah. So what we're gonna do is, going forward, at least for the next foreseeable future, is that Charles is gonna do the show with me. So this way, you guys can ask your questions to him, and he's gonna have the answers for you, as opposed to me saying, "I don't know," which doesn't help anybody. What we're gonna do is try and show you guys how to maximize what you're doing with Spread Knowledge, instead of me just saying these are the A picks and these are the B picks. Like, I never mention on the show. I'm not saying never, but I'm gonna say I rarely mention about the live betting updates, which is like really one of the best features. So these are all things that Charles will have time to go into, and hopefully represent his brand well. I think it was easy for me to represent it when we were winning everything in sight, right? I mean, it's easy to sit here and say, take this, and and it wins every time. Not so easy when it doesn't. That doesn't look good. So I guess I could have done this this graphics package before the show, but so what? At least I'm doing it. I can work on that behind the scenes. Anyways, so Charles, you want to get going with the picks for everyone? We got, I try and give everybody a chance to join us, on the show. We have, a small but good crowd here going. So yeah, go ahead and start with the picks, and I'll work on these graphics in the meantime, and then we could use these going forward, which is always good.
Okay. So we're going to do two picks today. The first pick is Houston Astros plus 1.5. Really like that pick. The machines like that pick. I think there's a lot of value in two tough division rivals. Playing at Oakland gives us a little bit of an advantage if it goes to extra innings, which, a lot of these low scoring games tend to do in the MLB playoffs. So if can they see my screen here? Or
no, we can't. We can't.
Okay.
That's why I flashed you. I flashed you, like I put you on the main screen, but we can't see your screen. I'll bring it back.
Yeah, no worries. So Houston Astros plus 1.5 run line is a B pick. We like that pick for the reasons that I just mentioned. And the other pick that we wanted to kind of share today was the Packers -7. We think.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. All right, I see it now. Okay, so let me go back. And now I have your screen. So we have Houston Astros here, and then it's looking at the. So we see this is a B-rated pick at plus 1.5. It really hates the A's, a team that the Spread Knowledge has loved all season. I mean, it loved the A's. It gave them A and B ratings all season long, and it paid off. Now it goes against.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's probably good reasons. I looked at these the recent results for these two teams, and they tend to be a little bit flip-flop, win-loss, win-loss, win-loss. And Houston's kind of due for the next win. So in terms of like a Fibonacci type sequence, that's, a lot of times in sports, it's good to look for those sorts of things. When the team's coming off a loss, particularly against the same opponent, it's a revenge spot, and they also have kind of just that regression going in their favor. So I think that's why the machines like the Houston plus 1.5, and I certainly like it as well today.
So, like, on these games that are played on a neutral site, like, these teams obviously haven't met on a neutral site. Does the Spread Knowledge account for that? Because Lance McCullers, away from Houston, who's starting for the Astros today, has a 10+ ERA in games away from Houston. Last time out he pitched pretty well on the road, but does it account that it's a neutral site game, and has it accounted like in the other sports for no fans in the stands?
No, it doesn't. That's part of the problem with COVID's impact on our sports predictions. It kind of looks at Oakland as if they're playing in Oakland. It looks at this game as if it's being played in Oakland with the home crowd. So, but that kind of gives an advantage to the away team quite significantly. So when we see the machines like an away team in the NFL or NBA or MLB, where there is no home crowd, there's kind of an extra advantage to taking that away pick, which is part of the reason why we're kind of taking that today.
Yeah, because this game is in Los Angeles, at Dodger Stadium, which makes it, which makes it just a weird thing, right? It's like it would just never happen in real life.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like it's almost like a video game, right? Where it's like. So here it is. We have a question. Charles is saying the team that is A+ rated with spread and the opponent A-rated spread, shouldn't that fall under the new X because it's essentially the same?
What?
He's asking about the Xing out, the new feature of Spread Knowledge where you X out the. So I got you back on the camera. So the question is that you have a feature where it's X, where it X's out, or it puts an X. And the X means is that both teams are rated identical by Spread Knowledge as far as probability and value. So the question is saying is an A and an A+, shouldn't they X each other out?
And so what Spread Knowledge does is try to assign value to all the picks on the board, right? So if there's value of similar, similar quantity, right? So if there's B's on opposite sides or A's on opposite sides, right? Then we'll put that X above the letter to indicate that there's something on the other side that you need to look at, right? So the X doesn't necessarily mean that you shouldn't take that pick. What it means is you should do more research like you would do ordinarily anyway, using Spread Knowledge to make sure that that's a pick that you actually want to take.
Okay.
Does that answer the question?
I think somewhat. I think you're always looking for a clearly defined. When I look at Spread Knowledge personally, which I do, I always look for something that's clearly defined. Like to me, it's like if one team is an A and the other team is a B, that's not good enough for me either. You know, it's like I'm looking for the A against the D plus. You know, that's I've talked about this on the evening live shows. You know, when Dana's on. You know, Dana Lane will be back on the 6 o'clock drive-through, and Charles is going to be on the drive-through shows too, 6 o'clock. I'm not sure what his schedule is on that, but he's going to be on the 6 p.m. drive-through show as well, doing this similar stuff. But I think that, you know, when I talk to Dana, you know, I think Dana and some of the other professional bettors, guys that aren't necessarily, they're handicappers on our site, but these guys are professional bettors. That's really what they are. They're more professional bettors than they are, you know, handicappers for the public. Guys like Alex Mark, guys like Dana. And they all say the same thing. They're like, well, this, you know, people are worried about the sharp money and the half a point line movement and all this other stuff. And they're just like, there's 80 games on the card. If I'm worried about a half a point, this isn't the one that I'm betting. You know, it's like, I'm looking for the one that I have an 8-point advantage. You know, and that's kind of the way that, you know, I look at spread knowledge the same way, is that will show me those games that have the big advantage. And it's like, I call it the double dip, right, on the show, where it said, wow, that, you know, not only does it love this one team, it really hates this team, you know, and that's kind of more what we look for. But all right, so I talked over you here, so let's get to the second pick for today's show. You ready? You got the screen queued up? Ready to switch? All right. So those of you that are joining us late, we have Charles Ormsby from Spread Knowledge. We're changing the computer pick show. The way the computer pick show is going to work going forward is Charles is going to be on with me, so he can explain his product better, because I kind of just look at these ratings, and here's exactly what I was talking about. But we were looking at you know, I've been giving out just A and B rated picks, and Charles keeps saying to me that we're not giving out picks, we're giving out data, and it's kind of like, you know, that's the last thing. If you're not a data person, right, that's the last thing you want to hear. It's kind of like when you buy something really cool that you really want, and then it shows up in a box in a million pieces with an instruction book that looks like a novel, right? It's like, oh no, you know, it's like, just tell me who's gonna win. But I think that you can use spread knowledge in some cases like that, but I do believe that in other cases, I've kind of you know, I might have missed the mark, and maybe that's why our record is slipping. I think in college basketball, where spread knowledge had so much data, you know, to work with, it was super effective, especially because we picked it up after the new year. You know, we didn't pick up spread knowledge at the beginning of college basketball season. We picked it up in January or February. So that's why, I think it was January. That's why we were on the heater.
That makes a huge difference. You know, the beginning of any season is tough because it's kind of new.
Yeah, right? just like it is for everybody.
Yeah. So on the second pick here, we're gonna go with the Packers -7 tonight. We think we typically stay away from primetime games, but we really like what Aaron Rodgers is doing. You can see on the opposite side of this with the Falcons, they're kind of going in the opposite direction, having, you know, lost the last 3. You can see here, and only covered 1 out of the last 3 in terms of point spreads. You can see spread knowledge likes the Packers money line as a B, but because of the price, it's kind of hard to justify that. So we're going to kind of just upgrade the spread and take Packers -7. We think, you know, Aaron Rodgers and his squad kind of cover that no problem. These are 2 different teams kind of on 2 different trajectories. And even though it's prime time, you know, we think that this is at least a 10 or 12 point favorite that you're looking at here, the Packers. So, yeah, that's what we see today.
Okay, let me bring Charles back. We're running over on time because I have my 10:30 show, and we're past that time. But anyways, I'm going to fix the graphics and everything, and we'll, of course, this will be, you know, we always try and make the next show better. This was our first attempt, and I tell you, it wasn't a bad one at all. But so the way to get spread knowledge is you can click on the link in the description, use the discount code Mitch, and you'll get 10% off any of the longer term purchases. You can get a 3-day trial. It's $5, $4.99 for $3. I always say this when people say, well, why isn't it a free trial? Well, if you can't afford $1.50 a day for this kind of value, then sports betting is not your thing. It's a bad idea for you. It's like, you know, if it's $1.50 is going to change your life or make a difference, then sports betting is not your thing. It's just not, So I think there's not a lot better value out there for the price. That's for sure. But what we'll do is we'll have Charles on, every day and to do games and to do picks. And, this schedule is going to be a little bit light for a while, but we'll still figure it out. And then, once November 25th hits and college basketball starts, well, then we'll watch that record shoot up again. We know that for sure. So, Charles, thanks for joining us. Be sure to click the link on the description. Be sure to smash the like button. We'll see you guys with the Spread Knowledge Show tomorrow, and I'll see you guys in just a few minutes for our regular live show with Brian Bitler, Chris Ruffalo, and Rod Zawacki. And we're going to talk some Major League Baseball and NFL football. We got 4 games tonight. Have a great day. I'll see you guys in just a few minutes.